Yo, 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 welcome back to the Relistenables. I mean, we haven't done this shit, at least me, because this is Walt's first time.
First time? Yeah.
Like, Jesus, I haven't done one in probably like 6 months now. And I'm starting to fiend for it. But during the summer, it's tough to like really sit down and while you're working 2 jobs or just hustling, to really sit down inside and to pound out something for an hour, 2 hours, let alone do the research. But anyway, like I said, my name's Stephen Moustaris as always, and this is my cousin Walter Cerrato, and this is his second time on the channel, which is exciting, but definitely first time doing a Relistenables. And I don't think we could have picked a better album. I don't know about you. You kind of picked it, but I know I gave some options. But first time to actually do this on video. I did this about 2 years ago. I looked it up. It was on in 2019 was the first one we ever did.
Is it the Kid Cudi?
It was this one. It was Get Rich or Die Tryin.
Okay.
2 years ago, but it was audio only. Okay. And man, we're taking ourselves back, going ourselves back to 2003, Jamaica South Side Queens. Man, I don't even know how to even give this a proper introduction, but maybe in my opinion, maybe a top 5 most influential albums, especially growing up. Like that's one of my first couple albums to listen to. Mm-hmm. Get Rich or Die Tryin by 50 Cent, first studio album. Mm-hmm. And man, I mean, you're a little older than me, so I'd like to hear from your perspective. Honestly, you might even, I don't know if you gave me like this album or showed me the album in total, but I know a couple of these songs blew up.
So this album, first of all, thanks for having me.
Oh, anytime.
We've been circling this one for a while. So this album, if I'm remembering correctly, came out like February 03?
February 6th, 2003.
Okay. February 03, and I remember that was my freshman year of high school. I had the Walkman.
Yeah.
With the headphones. But I didn't have the headphones that went over your head. I had the ones that were cool and went behind your ears. So I thought that was pretty sweet. This was before Beats. But I remember listening to this album every single day on the way to school, over and over and over again. And for those that, I know I'm dating myself here a little bit, but that's how it went. Like you had that CD in your Walkman and you just listened to it over and over again, mowing the yard or on the school bus or, going to the game or whatever it was. And I remember listening to this one, I want to say basically every day before school and on the bus ride home from February till school ended, the end of May. Just these songs over and over again. Yeah.
You're making me trip right now thinking about that stuff, man. Like, even think like, honestly, to go away from this album at all, but really think about that, like, being on the bus and stuff, but even through school when you're driving, you're always listening to something. Like CDs were huge, so we're always listening to stuff in our car. And dude, that's probably one of my biggest like things with music. My biggest time to listen to music was driving to the school bus. Even now with work, like it's literally maybe podcasts are being played, but still, it's like. Those are the most crucial times for me driving. That's cool that you brought it up.
And I know I'm going to sound like an old man here, but, I had the visor in my car with all my CDs. And then you learn how to burn CDs.
The red Monte Carlo.
Yeah, you could burn CDs and make your mix. Now, you just click a button, you make a playlist and everything. It's a lot easier.
Super
But
easy.
The work you put into making a playlist or burning a CD, and, maybe it's grabbing 3 or 4 songs from Get Rich or Die Tryin. Maybe it's grabbing, I'm trying to think what other album was big in like 03. Maybe I'm grabbing a couple of DMX songs. Maybe I think Grand Champ came out this year, his 5th album.
Jay-Z dropped, I think.
Jay-Z had one this year. Maybe I'm going to grab a couple Ludacris songs. And then you make a playlist. Like there's no better, because every song was just, but this album in itself though, is one of those few albums where I think nearly every single song, you're good. You just let it play.
Oh yeah.
Like you're not. I'll skip that one today.
Maybe which we'll get into. Maybe a couple features where it could have been a little better. Yeah. But to go off that too, before we really dive into this album, the features on this is ridiculous. The amount that he has. Yeah. Like, I don't want to like breed him off yet, but I mean,
and
just off the top.
So I don't think it can be understated, especially for those who like. Maybe are a little younger that might not understand just how big 50 was. So I remember 2002 was the year of Eminem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Eminem show came out, I want to say like May of 2002, which you can debate on where that falls on his all-time albums list. I think it's pretty easy to agree that it's definitely in the top half of his albums.
Oh, easily.
And then November 2002, he comes out with 8 Mile. And then somewhere in between there, he signs 50 Cent because 50 appeared.
Was in 02, yep.
Yeah, 50 appeared on the 8 Mile soundtrack. And I remember that was my first introduction to him. And I think Wangsta was on that soundtrack.
Places to Go.
Yeah, and played. I mean, just amazing. Just great songs.
Oh my gosh, he murdered that. Okay.
Yeah,
that's on my plate. Like, I'm
02 was the Eminem year, and then you roll over the calendar like 3 months after 8 Mile comes out. Get Rich or Die Tryin drops. Like, he was a phenomenon. Like, and there's a lot of rappers that when they come out, like they talk about, they kind of have that bravado, that charisma. 50 like backed it up. He rapped confidently, and he had that bravado and everything. And he knew he was as hot as he was saying he was.
Oh yeah.
And then I think later in 03, like I want to say it was November, the G Unit album drops. Yeah. And I don't know if you were thinking about, how much that plays into this one, but obviously I don't know. I don't think that G Unit album blows up quite as much if Get Rich or Die Tryin doesn't. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like 02, 03 and Aftermath, the Shady Aftermath out record label.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if a 2-year stretch has been touched by another record label since.
I don't think so. I mean, you could not 2 years, but you can argue with the whole Young Money, Cash Money there for a little bit.
They had a nice stretch in like
but
that.
It was like 5 years. Yeah, but it was like 3,
Carter
4,
3.
5,
Drake comes on the scene.
Drake, Nicki Minaj was going crazy.
Yeah,
little Tyga there, but but for 3 guys basically, if you really want to dumb it down from Dr. Dre to Eminem to 50, I don't know.
Well, and there was like an urban legend around 50.
Yeah,
he got shot 9 times. He survived like in a really weird way. And this is probably unanswerable question. If he doesn't get shot 9 times, is this album as big?
Bro, I literally have it written down.
Am I getting ahead of you? All right.
Dude, I have it written down as a question. No, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. I was going to say, do you think he's even as successful if he doesn't get... Because I remember... Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm only 10 years old at the time, about to turn 11, whatever. But still, sitting there as a big fan, listening to music, like, I've been my mom was a huge music fan. You're a huge music fan. So, like, that already was getting me into it. And seriously, this would be him... Like, Eminem, clearly, first introduction to rap, really, ever. Like, I mean, it's Eminem. Everybody heard it. And then 50 Cent, too, right after that for me. Yeah. Like, as a 10-year-old, the first time I'm really introduced to, like, thug music. And I'll never forget sitting inside in the, in Jackson Township of Ohio, which is pretty funny. It's, like, predominantly white town.
Mostly suburbs.
You never had to really go through anything unless you got some...
Which the funny thing is, that's typically where hip-hop music is...
Oh, yeah.
Is taken in the most.
Oh, my God. But that's the funniest part. I'm sitting there, and even today, great story. I'm re-listening to this morning while I went to Giant Eagle at like 7 a.m., and that's like senior hour. They barely let me in. But like, seriously, out there, and I had this album running because we're doing it. Mm-hmm. And I got this edge on me. Like, I dare an old lady to look at me like she don't know me, man. 9 times I got shot. Like, I felt like I was 50. And that's what I felt like when I was a kid. And, man, And I never even lived that life ever. And, like, I get that a little bit with, like, Kendrick or whatever. If you ever listen to, like, Biggie. Like, there's artists that, just like you were saying, just live it. And you know that that's them. But, no, I like that question. I don't know.
You can feel the aggression and the confidence. And it's almost like a release. Like, it's cathartic to them to let go through their lyrics. You can hear it in their voice. You can imagine everything 50 went through. To be signed to one of the biggest record labels in the world at the time, in the hip-hop universe. Yeah. And he knew he was hot shit.
And then to even go into it, even the music video, Many Men, like, where he, like, literally reenacts himself getting shot up 9 times. Like, you have a visual there. Like, I don't know. That's a good question, though, dude. I don't know if he is as successful. I mean, I think this album speaks for itself almost 20 years later at this rate. That's still... You could drop this right now, probably listen to it all, but do what I mean. I don't know. Let's get into this album so I can fucking just get into it. Like, so you like, as I don't know if I'm speaking for all of us here, but like the goal of this, the whole thing is you gotta re-listen to the entire album from start to finish. And just for you guys and just to know, we did the extended bonus, the 19 track, the 3 extra ones. Which was Wangsta, You Not Like Me, and then...
Life's on the Line.
Yeah, Life's on the Line to finish it out. Yep. And we didn't go with the extra remixes to PIMP and whatever. But
with Snoop Dogg, right?
Yeah, with Snoop Dogg. Yeah, and then I think
I feel like someone else was on that. I can't remember who it was.
It was.
I wasn't as crazy about the remix.
DMX, dude. Not to be funny. Not DMX, but oh my god, I was looking at it.
We can put that in the notes later.
I didn't write it down. But anyway, but like seriously, you don't listen to the intro that much, like the little 6-second intro where it's a 50 Cent piece getting dropped down, and then he's got the gun loading up, and it's so cool to like really see that he's like, hey, this is me without saying a damn word. Like, welcome
6
to
seconds.
The 50 Cent show.
Like, think of how much he accomplished with 6 seconds.
Dude, you hear the little coin going,
and then you hear the gun click loading up,
and then oh my god, oh my goodness! Like, I'm a huge intro fan. Like, for me,
plays right into "What Up, Gangsta,"
which is him, just like you said before. He's just, he knows that he's hot, and he's letting the world know, like, hey, I know this shit's hot, so here I am, motherfuckers. But like, here at the Relistenables, we like to pride ourselves on really giving that intro a true rating. Like, not necessarily like 1 out of 10 or whatever, but like just to kind of break that intro down, because I'm a fan of actually listening to an album. I don't hit shuffle and shit. I'm a real big, like, I hope this is taking me on a ride. And here I am. I'm strapped in.
And when you think about how much thought that I think most artists put into the track list and where this song falls, that's how they wanted you to hear it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's, it's the whole point, because it's like, hey, you're setting the tone. If you come out with something trash, you're like, all right, I'm instantly already, like, maybe you're going to push it away. And, man, and usually I think it takes extra balls to come in with, like the intro like that, where it's not necessarily a song or a beat or anything. It's more of a skit. And that's where it gets really ballsy. And for him to just be like, hey, short and sweet, let's get it. Yep. And then, like, even with that, without that starting the album, I'm still like, you're still freaking hyped. But I mean, I thought it was amazing. So
yeah.
But like, all right, so dude, not to go down through every damn track, but like, when you were listening to this for the first time again, I'm sure, because I'm not going to speak for us, but I'm sure you listen to a lot of these songs throughout the
years.
Anyway, because a lot of these songs are coming up on shuffle and stuff, and like are timeless. But like, what kind of stuck out to you at all in like the first beginning little part, other than the intro that we just broke down? But, like, were you like shocked at all with anything?
Well, I was,
because clearly you're.
I shocked, no, but I forgot just how effective that intro was right into the first song, What Up Gangsta. And I was just shocked at, like, man, there were so many amazing songs in this album. Like, I didn't forget they were on the album, but it's like, oh yeah, that's here too. Oh yeah, that song's here too. Oh yeah, I love the hook on this song. Oh yeah, I love the first verse on this song. So yeah, and just going back through, and the you could feel the hunger in his voice. And this is something too, I think we could talk about maybe what 50's career after this, because I have some opinions on that. I'm sure we'll probably get to that later on.
Oh yeah.
But you could feel the hunger in his voice. But he's got the club banger. He's got the song More So for the Ladies. He's got those gangster anthems. He's got those ones. It's like Gotta Make It to Heaven. Like when you're having a rough day or something, and you're going through it. He's got that song, and then he's just got the songs where you just know he's feeling himself, 100%. And he's being cocky, and you're feeling good about yourself. Those are the kind of songs you listen to that kind of make you feel invincible. I still have a couple of these tracks that are on my workout playlist. Like that's still, when that beat drops, you still feel it. You know, that testosterone starts building. You start feeling amped, just like how you said you felt it at Giant Eagle this morning when you're going to step to an older lady.
Well, I wasn't going to. I said, I dare her right now. I got something to say to her today.
I wish she would.
But that usually I'm helping her out. Like, hey, do you need help with your groceries today? Nah, get the fuck away from me. So, but no, that is a really good, to go back to the hunger thing. You've always said it and I've always stuck with it. Like, I'm sure I stole your take. I'm a take stealer for this one.
Absolutely.
But you've always said, growing up, you're like, dude, he's probably the most hungry rapper you've ever heard in your life. The most hungry person. Like, you see people when they're dedicated, and that's what we call hunger. It's like, you're ready. You're just here. You want more, and then life usually gives to people, and you know you got it. And he knew all of that. The confidence is at an all-time high. Yep. But seriously, man, you look at it today, and there's not. We can make arguments that maybe only 1, 2 other artists out there have ever been that hungry and that dedicated, that motivated to, to really do something with his life or her, because you never know. But like, the way that you can hear that in his music is It's wild. That's what makes him stand out so much. Because we hear a lot of people today, the mumble rappers and stuff, like, no hate on them. Good for you guys making a career. But, like, there's no emotion into it. You know, it's like, it's a great beat and all. But, like, that's what makes it so amazing.
Well, and you know, there's so much to say on this. You know, there's a lot of gangster rap out there. And there's a lot of rappers that
quote unquote gangster
that talk about being in the streets and everything like that. 50 was.
Oh, 100%.
When you get shot 9 times and you're rapping about slanging and you know, packing heat, like, you're not going to get questioned on that. So the authenticity is there right off the bat.
Thanks.
You get shot 9 times and survive. You get shot 1 time and survive. You got a second lease on life. And then you get signed by, I mean, you have an album that's produced by Dr. Dre and Eminem. Like, probably one of the, I mean, I don't know if you can get a better production team than that. And this is something that, you know, I kind of wish I would have researched a little bit more. When you talk about a debut album, it has to be on the short list of greatest of all time in hip hop. Right?
Easily.
Just not even close. Like, it has to be. But
and a true debut album too, because that's the other point we go to. Like, even like the Kendrick Lamar fans and stuff out there that think Good Kid, Mad City would be that's his like third album. So it's not even his debut. It's his debut to the world. But like there are
that was his mainstream breakthrough.
Yeah, there are many artists out there who had 4 or 5. You know, because 50 did have a couple mixtapes that had to get him big, but yeah.
And I think You Not Like Me, or what was it? The last 3 songs, Life's on the Line,
Wanksta, and You Not Like Me.
And You Not Like Me. I think those were leftovers from his last album.
I looked at only one of them and it was I think I wrote it down. Or no. When we get to it, I'll probably
but going back to the hunger thing,
but yeah,
I think this is like the example I use, and it's not just in music. 50's first album was way up here. Like, I'm going to go out of the shot here.
Easily.
And then his second album, The Massacre, anytime you have a follow-up, it's going to be, you know, highly anticipated. It was all right. But
I still listen to a lot of them songs.
Yeah, it was all right. There were some good songs.
Oh, yeah.
But to me, he's never even really come close. And now he rare. I mean, he'll put out a song every now and then, maybe a feature or something like that on like a top 40 type song. But you can tell it was one of those situations where he had a ton of commercial success those first couple albums. And I would put the G Unit album in there too, Beg for Mercy.
Yes, so many.
You could still hear the hunger, even though it was a group album, a collaborative thing, that he got his payday, so to say.
Yeah.
And the hunger was there. And I mean, look at I think it's human nature, right? Look at sports. I mean, look at how many athletes, Dirk Nowitzki, perfect example.
Okay.
Like, he wanted that first one so bad. Now, granted, he might not have the team around him to get another one, but he was good after that first one.
Oh, yeah.
Look at movies. How many sequels just don't live up to the first one?
Very true.
Because you have that success, and that hunger isn't there to go out and create something special, create something that's memorable. And yeah, you get. I'm kicking the camera.
No,
here.
You're good, dude. I see that. I was like, that's my dog was in here.
But you get that. It's human nature once you kind of. Well, I'm sure we kind of get. I mean, we get a nice paycheck or something, and you look at your bank account, you're like, oh, maybe I'm gonna relax a little bit. This is kind of nice, and you kind of lose that drive and lose that edge, and it's the ones that I think can keep coming back and keep trying to find a way to be better and greater. And I think that's why 50 is not remembered now, because how it started out. If I would ask you, like, hey, just based on his first album, like, he's going this way, like,
to the top.
This is probably a top 10 rapper of all time.
Top thrill dragster. He's going straight up.
But now, I mean, and that's fine. I don't hold that against 50 or anything like that. And I wonder, you know, he's very much an entrepreneur now, and I know he's produced movies and TV shows. He's even acted a little bit. I don't know how much he truly wanted to be a rapper anyways, or maybe he just kind of got into some other stuff and said, I'm going to go this way. Maybe more of a businessman. Was he the vitamin water? Didn't he start that?
Yeah, well, he was like the first primary like investor.
Yeah,
and that's like when they were low, like doing nothing.
Yeah,
there's some cool things about how much he's made off of them, and then I mean that is very true. I mean, seriously, like, look at music would be like the best one clearly, but the best comparison, because look how many artists go out there and make one good one good song, never hear from him again.
Yeah.
One good album, never hear from him again. Like, the fact that he even did this with this album is so impressive. And me being, us living in, Ohio, there's not that many people that like are true diehard 50 Cent fans. Like, truly. Like, I don't know about your friend group, but when I bring up a 50 Cent like convo about him being in like not in the top 5 rappers of all time or something, but like at least at his peaks, like there was in his prime, it was like he could have been Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he might have settled for a little less, whatever, but he had the effort or like his skill level and everything, and oh my god,
he had it. He had the it factor. He had the moxie.
You listen to this album and you know what we're talking about. Like, there's no way that you can sit there and say that 50 isn't among the top rappers ever, like, just because he didn't, continue his career like an Eminem did, or Dr. Dre had like his producing career. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all these people that stay consistent, and maybe he didn't, but to even have this album, he has this album that rappers that have 12 amazing albums still don't even get one really good one like this, and
it's almost like a perfect storm that no matter how hard he would try, you can't duplicate again.
Yeah, seriously.
And even for other artists to do, I don't know if you can ever duplicate that again. You know what I'd be really curious, and this is again probably another one of those like unanswerable questions, because I can only see my own perspective.
Oh yeah, true.
When you say 50 Cent, and like, okay, I know the images that come up in my mind. I know the thoughts that come up in my mind. I'd be really curious to see if I walked up to like a 22-year-old right now, like, hey, what's your opinion on 50 Cent?
I could probably tell you what it is now.
Oh, was he the guy that did the In the Club song?
I think it'd be more like now. It'd be like, is that the guy that's on Instagram all the time and just dogging, people? Just
I think he's on that Power show or
he made.
I don't know how big that show is with the younger group too, but
I know that show is pretty big. But
I wonder what they identify him with. Like, you think there's a chance that, like, wasn't he a rapper? Now he does this, or
maybe the 9-time thing could still probably come up. The rapper that got out 9 times, it probably still could come up, but. Dude, when I think of 50 Cent, man, like, it takes me back to the tight ass man, or not the bandana, but you know what I'm saying, like the cap, whatever, and then he'd have the
do-rag,
fried, literally fried, but the do-rag, any color, matching everything, the sideways hat, the tank on the beater, jacked as hell. Like I said, next time if we ever do this one,
it was a gun strap he was wearing around. It was Gucci, wasn't it? Wasn't it like a Gucci gun strap he had around? And it helped. And then the album cover is glass with a bullet hole right in the middle, right in his chest. I mean,
but if we ever redo this album, we ever do the Get Rich Die Tryin', we're gonna have the bulletproof vest on, backwards hat, do rag. Like, that's what I think of, man.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Well, so
the swagger, like him in interviews, the way he talks, like you knew he was about.
So we talked about, and I'm not afraid to admit this. I'll laugh at myself now, but I was much like a lot of white suburban kids that thought, oh, I listen to a lot of hip hop music. I'm black.
Yeah,
I'm just black. So G Unit clothing became a thing. I don't remember if you remember that, because I know Jay-Z had
Rockefeller.
And I think G Unit even came out with their own Reebok shoes. 50 had an endorsement deal with Reebok. I had a pair of those. They weren't bad. A nice little like casual shoe. I remember I had a G Unit shirt. It was just a white T-shirt, and I'm going to say this, and I really hope you can visualize it. But that script they had was a nice cursive. Yeah, it was blue, and it just said G Unit. And I remember I had an all blued out Yankees New Era fitted cap.
Yep.
And I mean, like, logo and everything's blue, but I matched. I was like, oh man, I look like put me in the background of the music video. I'm ready. Like,
I'm blending
but
in.
Like, dude, just going back now, like, oh my god, that's so embarrassing. But this is the thing that how many of us can look back at how we dressed when we were 16, 17 years old and be like, yeah, I like what I was thinking there.
I'm looking so good, man.
No. Yeah. I remember I had the In the Club music video. This was when wearing retro jerseys was real big.
Yeah.
And then I think right around there too is when wearing them backwards. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah, I remember
so
that.
Where the player's name was on the front.
Jay-Z, all of guys.
But I remember the retro uniforms real big. And I remember I had this fit. Of course, I didn't call it that back then. But it was a Cleveland Indians jersey that was like the old script. It almost kind of looks like Bones. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And then it went across here, said Indians, and I think it was red with like white and blue trim. And then I had the hat that matched, that had the kind of funky looking C.
Yeah.
And then it said Indians across the back. And then I had like some Express jeans and then like my all white Air Forces or something like that.
Yeah.
I was untouchable. I mean, I don't know why the ladies weren't lining up around the block.
Yeah, what the heck? Where the ladies at?
I mean, there's still the thing is about that jersey though, which is kind of funny. Like, it didn't fit me illy because that was kind of the thing back then too. Is you wear things a little baggier.
Oh, baggy.
And that was the Allen Iverson hip hop. You know, that's a whole other conversation we can have.
Yeah.
But this jersey, if I remember correctly, it wasn't huge on me. Like, there's even just a couple years ago, I was like, man, I kind of wish I could find that uniform because that would be. I don't know where it is now, but.
That is, dude. I'm
laughing
at myself.
That's
what I'm saying.
But I remember watching that music video, like, I gotta dress like that.
I'm not okay. So at the time, I'm not lying here. It probably wasn't even YouTube at the time. I'm trying to think of what. I don't know. Vimeo was a thing back then. That sounds kind of new. I'm trying to think what was like the original. Because there was this website I found. They would have the rap music videos on it, and I'd watch dude. I'll never forget. It was this song and What You Gonna Do or whatever by Lil Jon and like the East Side Boys and all that shit. A little Scrappy, I think. Yeah. But it'd be those two music videos, and they probably had like a couple million views at the time, and I was probably like responsible for 1 million each one. Like I would watch Into Club music video. Yeah, I'm not kidding, bro. 5 times in a row.
When they have 50 running on the treadmill and he's got all those things hooked up to him. Where he and Eminem and Dr. Dre are like up the top, like, you know, he's their specimen.
The lab.
They're studying him. Yeah. And then they release him out into the club.
I'll never forget. He's like getting done with a sit up or whatever when he first.
And he comes down like Spider-Man, absolutely shredded,
jacked as fuck.
Yeah.
All these white people working on
that. Now, whether or not that was all natural, that's a whole nother discussion.
He said he got big in jail. Fuck that. You don't get that big in jail.
He was yoked, but
huge. Good for him, man.
But that was back when MTV actually played music videos.
Oh yeah, that's what.
I remember just sitting there watching MTV, like, man, play it.
That's when music videos mattered. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're kind of making a way back because YouTube's getting way bigger. But like, dude, BT.
Oh yeah,
was a huge thing. Like, oh my, 106 in Park.
VH1 would play him every now and then.
Oh my god, there were so many. Like, you wanted a music video because it wasn't about the album really. And for him, if this album drops today, not to get in that conversation already, but fuck, we're 30 minutes in, dude. Like, if this album drops today, I think it's honestly probably even somehow higher. Like the streaming, like with the streaming services and stuff, for how good this album is without a music video is phenomenal. And that was the thing. Music videos were so big back. Like that's why In the Club was huge. PIMP was huge. Patiently Waiting with Eminem was huge just because Eminem was huge at the time. But like Many Men had the greatest music video. 21 Questions had the music video.
So it's like did PIMP.
Dude, that's my point. Like those were the top songs. If you look at it, they're all like over the million viewed downloads, all that shit. And like the other ones are like the
so 5 singles on this album.
Yeah, I think the first one
or like that made the top 100.
Oh yeah, I think that honestly, I think 6.
So you got
Many Men
in the Club. You got PIMP, 21 Questions, Wanksta, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, how many outside of like The Weeknd? How many?
Drake.
Yeah, Drake. Yeah. Maybe you could say Taylor Swift. There's not a whole lot of artists you can say have like 5 hit songs, like 5 singles off an album nowadays. So
and then too, another thing for me is like features were huge in the early 2000s. Yeah. Like, oh my god! Yeah. And to really look at him right now, like seriously, just to read him off a little bit, like he had every single person at G Unit in here: Lloyd Banks, Tony Ayo, Young Buck. Then clearly, you know, we see Nate Dogg in there.
Yep.
And then Eminem's on here 2 times, 3 times.
Eminem's on here twice. Yep.
But I mean, and then he produces pretty much every freaking song. Yep. Dr. Dre produces pretty much every song. And
so, can we talk about Dr. Dre real quick?
Yeah, let's get it.
Were you kind of surprised he wasn't featured on here? Obviously, I know his hand was heavy with the beats. How many beats did he produce?
It's hard. All right, so I wrote them down. So out of all of them here, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 5 of them.
Okay, so about a third or fourth of the album. Yeah, I was kind of surprised he didn't show up on a feature.
See, this is tough because when we're sitting here now and we know what's
happening, hindsight's always 2020.
It's like, oh yeah, no wonder he wasn't on there. Yeah. But I was super shocked because we had it on the was it the Eminem show where they had the 3 or no, that was way later. but we've seen them. They've all had their like we've had a couple of their songs where they're all on there, and I was kind of shocked, but part of me, I don't know. Dr. Dre, I don't think really liked rapping. I really don't. I don't
I think he's always leaned more towards.
And I think he knew that, like, listening to these songs, dude. Like, not to be funny, Eminem at this time is the only person that doesn't go into one of these songs intimidated as fuck. Like, wow, do you listen to what this guy's saying right now?
And you know what?
Dr. Dre might have not been able to keep up. Honestly, like, not to hate on Dr. Dre, but like,
and I really like that the other three members of G Unit all appeared in one song, one verse, so it's not too much. That was my first introduction to Young Buck. That was my first introduction to Lloyd Banks, Tony A. And I think Tony A. wasn't he like still in jail at this time?
Yeah, pretty sure. Didn't he have to call it or not call in because it wasn't recorded?
Yeah, I don't know how that worked out, but so that was my first like, who are these people? And then like obviously you're trying to read and learn as much as you can about 50 Cent, and you realize like, oh, that's G Unit that he keeps talking about. You know, like, that's okay. Right. Now I kind of see what he's doing. So then that. I think, I don't know how much of that was planned, but I think that was great. Just a little sample to like, hey, that's the group I'm a part of, much like Eminem's got D12. And 9 months later, we're going to push out our group album, which was also a huge hit, but
huge. G-Unit took over the world. Guerrilla Unit took over the world.
They were big.
But, so what, okay, so let's go back. We'll act like we're back in 2003.
Okay.
Other than In the Club, clearly.
Okay.
Because we already kind of, we'll break it down more. I mean, I guess we could. We already have.
Can we talk about that song real quick?
Let's go. Let's get it.
Okay. That song's real interesting to me. Because I've been to a couple weddings the last 2 weekends. And weddings, I mean, you're out at a club or something late. You kind of always hear like the same songs, Get Low, Yeah. You might hear, I mean, I guess you couldn't really say like Cupid Shuffle. That's kind of a different genre right there, but like In the Club, I don't think we can understate how massive of a song that was. That was a huge song.
Huge.
But I don't think it's lived on like the Little John Usher's.
I agree.
I agree. Why do you think that is? Is it because maybe the Little John Ushers are just a little more poppy? And this one's a little too,
I think,
a little
because the first part, I think the go, is that what he said? Or,
yeah.
Did he say 9 times? And it, yeah. But, maybe 7. I can't remember. It's always
it's your birthday. Yeah.
I think that first little part, it's definitely that like banger, like for the radio. But he does have some lyrics on this song. Like he goes, you know what I'm saying? It's not like those Little John songs where it's bumping and it's like we're not really saying anything. Like he says a lot. And that's the thing too. When you're listening to an Eminem, 50, Jay-Z, like Nas, Biggie, Tupac, like the like Fabulous, like my favorite rappers from back then, like the 2003s and earlier. Mm-hmm. Like you got to listen. You know what I'm saying? You can't just sit there and just we're paying attention to the beat.
There's wordplay.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. And if you don't get the wordplay, this is why you don't like these guys. They're just too, not to say advanced for people, but they are like they're intricate with their music, and that's what makes them so amazing.
I do think that,
and sorry, real quick, but that's almost finish my answer to that. Is I think that's why is because a lot of these other songs are like starting to like take over more for his career, like when people remember him, because we're almost listening more to his lyrics, like, and he just goes so hard on all these other songs that I think all these other songs are better than that song. Not to hate on it, because I know it was his first single. It probably is listened to more than any other one, but
and you got to do the commercial song. You got to do the song.
You have to.
That the fair weather hip hop fan or the fair weather just top 40 fan is going to get into. So you almost kind of feel like maybe his lyrics. I mean, I don't mean this as any disrespect to like Lil Jon, Usher, Ludacris and all them, but maybe the lyrics were easier to follow along with for the masses.
Yeah,
and maybe a little more. And 50 had that edge to him that his lyrics maybe were a little harder to follow along with, a little harder to yell at the top of your lungs around a dance floor. I could see that. That's always interested me. And again, I only know my own perspective on that song when I hear it. I'm kind of curious as to why that song, like, I can't remember the last time I went to a wedding and heard that song.
Do you think, all right, here's another question too. So, because if you listen to these instrumentals a lot of the time, like clearly we know what he's saying, so it makes it better. But that's the magic about 50 and Eminem and stuff. Like if you listen to a lot of their instrumentals just without the lyrics on it, the beat kind of sucks. You know what I'm saying? And they make the story and they make the song with their lyrics and their flow.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing with nowadays in rap, it's the beat and the flow, or like the beat and whatever, and the instrumental makes the flow and whatever, and that makes the song. So you can listen to all those Lil Jon, Usher, all them songs without the actual music on there, and you're like, okay, this is nice.
Like I'm listening to it. Just first song came to my mind right now. Tyga, who's he's fine. He's an alright rapper. But Taste, I think the beat to that song is like incredible. I think it makes that song like I gotta imagine there's probably a lot of rappers like, man, I wish I would have got that beat.
Oh yeah,
that beat carries the song so much. Does it really matter what he says in the song? It does. It kind of his lyrics don't have to be like blow you away, but that's a whole nother.
So to kind of go into the whole beat thing. Fun fact for you: did you know that In the Club was actually made for D12?
I did not know that.
And Dre played it in front of 50, and 50 was like, "Nah, all right, I'm right." He wrote it. Oh, he wrote that song in less than an hour.
Wow.
That's the story.
They
always say that stuff about big songs being written in less than an hour, and it's like
that was Big Pimpin', right? Didn't Jay-Z say like 20 minutes or something? He wrote Big Pimpin'.
Big Pimpin's such a great fucking song. Oh my god.
Okay.
And then
that parlays real well into. Do you want to get into the categories yet, or go ahead?
No,
what do you
one more with the like what other one was made for other people. Go back to Nas, Many Men. That beat was actually made for Nas as well.
Ooh.
But Fiddy heard it originally, and then because I think I want to say from what I was researching, it sounds like Nas had a song already recorded with that beat, but Fiddy just beat him to it.
That song's out there somewhere.
It's got to be. I tried to find it, and I couldn't hear it.
I'd like to hear that.
And then one last little fun fact. Did you know for their first single was Between If I Can't and In the Club? And it was Jimmy Iovine.
Jimmy Iovine, yeah.
It was Eminem, 50, and Dre all in the room, and they just did a coin flip for which one won, and clearly In the Club won. Which honestly might go down as the most crucial coin flip of all time. Because in my opinion, we're going to get into this, but If I Can't might be one of my favorite songs on this album. Because it's one of those ones that I listen to, like I was telling you, before we started this, him and I work our asses off. I work 2 jobs. He works a bunch of jobs. Like, we hustle. So, so I back, for 3 days in a row, I put, 16, 17, 18-hour days. And while I'm getting off one shift to go work concrete or something, this is one of those songs I got to listen to. If I can. This is one of those ones that, for me, personally, I would have loved if that was the single, but it definitely wouldn't have got the pop, In the Club did, in my opinion, to the average ear. So,
that's interesting.
Do you have any fun facts or anything before we get into our little awards and whatever?
Not that I haven't talked about. I mean, a lot of it's just been my own experience with this album. I remember there was a DVD that came out around the time of this album, and it was a behind the scenes, kind of getting to know 50. I remember he was real secretive, and I think that was almost by design. I remember any magazine I could grab where there was a 50 Cent interview, I can't understate how hot he was. He was on the cover of everything.
Yeah.
He was on TV all the time. Everybody wanted a piece of 50 right now at this time. And I remember he didn't really give away much. He was real soft spoken in interviews. He didn't really talk about his personal life that much. And I just remember just clamoring for whatever I could. Does he really party does he really smoke like he does? Where's he live? Does he really, is he walking around with, I'm hitting the camera again.
Dude, you're good, dude. Who gives a shit?
Is he walking around strapped? Does he have the bulletproof car like he says he does? And I actually think he did have a bulletproof car.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly.
I think he might have bought it after this, though. Because he blew some bulking money, which we'll probably get into by the end of this.
But yeah, that's just what I'm going off of memory. But yeah.
And then, all right, real quick, too. One other little fun fact that I don't know if a lot of people know, but I just wanted to kind of ask you if you believe it or not. So in many of his interviews throughout the years, he's always stayed consistent on saying he's never drank, never smoked. He can't do it. Doesn't like doing it.
Yeah.
And he literally said he made high all the time, literally just because he saw all these people like Snoop Dogg, all these other guys making full careers out of just getting high and rapping about it. So he wanted to kind of laugh on people and be like, yo, I can do that shit too. But he said he never does it. So he said he was, full lion, full cat. So, do you actually believe that he wasn't in his day partying the fuck up? Because I could see it from a businessman. If he's really slanging the coke and shit, probably not doing it because if you want to make the money, you can't be doing that shit. So
right.
I'm sure that way. But You're telling me you're with all these people all the time. They're handing you blunts. They're handing you whatever. You don't got to work the next day because you fucking just made how many millions off of an album? Like, I'm just saying, like, you're not drinking one little drink a night. Like, I would be really shocked if he actually isn't doing any of that.
It definitely could be a like a little bit of a PR move.
You think it's kind of like the Kevin Hart thing where he's always said he hasn't drank and stuff,
like
but then he gets in trouble with all that stuff. And then he comes out and tells people he had a problem.
I definitely think it could be a little bit of like a publicity move that like, and maybe he just kept, and I do think he kept his circle really tight to where, you know, you weren't seeing pictures. And this was probably like right as cell phones started to have cameras and everything like that, but not anything like it is today.
There's so many MTV awards that I'm thinking of right now where like M50 and all those guys wearing how we already talked about how they dress and they got the flip phones out, like getting
yeah.
Dude, I'll never forget that. That was a whole lifestyle, man, for us growing up.
Oh yeah.
Kids nowadays, when like we're sounding old here, even though we're not, you know, like we're still young, but like seriously, like young kids nowadays will never understand. It's almost, like they know these phones and shit. Yeah. Everybody's gonna be doing that, but like they don't understand the culture back then.
I mean, it'll be 19 years here in a few months, which just, I was thinking about that on the way over here. 19 years ago almost?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. We're coming up on 19 years in 3 months.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around.
Up till a couple years ago, this album could be buying cigarettes right now. But now it's 21, isn't it? Or whatever, but yeah, still.
Yeah, in some countries you can buy alcohol.
This album's a couple years away from being old enough to drink.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. Yeah. Like, I was thinking of that earlier. Like, could you imagine that kind of like flex that you can have on people where in a couple years, 50 sitting there like, motherfucker, I got one of the greatest albums of all time old enough to drink right now. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? Older than your kids, man. That's
didn't Tom Brady say something about that? Like his NFL career can drink now?
Yeah.
Before the season started.
Like Vince Carter's almost good.
Yeah.
Kobe almost good. All that. But so do you want to get into the awards, or do you want to? Actually, one last question.
Okay.
So before we get into the awards, which it might actually pop up, but for this listen, because we asked the 03 question, like if back then, like what songs stuck out to you? Like re-listening to these, did any of them like stick out to you, where you almost maybe forgot how hard somebody did go, or how good it was, or like wow, I forgot this song? Because for me, real quick, the one that's always stuck out to me. For some reason, I think it's because I like sadly had to buy the like clean version when I first heard it in my life. So Heat wasn't on there because it's just so dirty. It wasn't actually on the actual clean album. So I remember listening to this a couple years ago, probably like 7 years ago, a while ago, and hearing that song for the first time where I'm like, hold up, is this a new 50 Cent song? Like 50 hasn't went this hard in years. And I'm like, oh shit. And then you find out it's on this album. But that for me was one of the ones that sticks out, which is produced by Dre. But
I think going back down, which
that's the one that was on the other album, by the way. The earlier one, the Power one or whatever.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
And I know this was at the height of the Ja Rule diss and the beef with Ja Rule and Benzino and everything. And that was a direct diss at Ja Rule and everyone. And I was firmly on the side of M and 50. And even DMX got into it, Ja Rule a bit. And you know where I stood on that.
Oh.
But going back and listening to that song, and this was probably the first time I heard that song in maybe a couple years, and he really went after it.
That song's on like Double XL's like top 100, top 50 diss tracks of all time. Like it's like number 7 or 8. So that goes hard. I still to this day think Vaseline by Ice Cube is probably the hardest diss track of all time. I don't care what anybody says. That shit.
Oh, that's a whole other pod.
Whole other pod.
Oh, we get best diss tracks. Okay.
But anyway, so let's dive into these. These are the Relistenables awards. We like to do these. It helps us break down the song a little bit more. Gets into shit. And since this is your first time, I'll let you go first. Okay. But if you have any trouble, like, because I'm just going to go with the flow of mine, but if you have any trouble with, like, what they are, like, their description of the award, you can just let me do it for you. You know what I'm saying? But
so the Dr. Dre Award for the Best Instrumental.
Yeah.
I had a really hard time with this one. I put 3 songs on there. If like gun to my head, if I had to pick one, 3 songs I put Patiently Waiting.
Yep.
Back Down. And maybe a little bit of surprise, but maybe it's just like the way I heard it, you know, I was listening to it last. PIMP, it's a fun beat.
It's such a nice.
It flows well. It kind of like it embodies that, like, like being a pimp. It just sounds like a song that if a pimp made a song, that's what you think it would be.
Yeah.
It sounds blingy. So those three, but I mean, gun to my head, probably going Patiently Waiting.
I like that a lot, actually. I went with I wanted to go with 21 Questions, but I didn't want to go softy on it because that's more like a love song. So with the album that's this fucking hard, I didn't want to hit it with the LL Cool J. You know what I'm saying? But also another little breakdown. This Dr. Dre award has been my award for every instrumental and every beat, unless we're doing a rock album. So it's not just this album. So it's actually just kind of a coincidence that this would be it. And I'm gonna go with a Dr. Dre beat on this one if I can. For some reason, I just think that like I kind of explained it. That song to me, like that's the one you listen to right now. You could run through a fucking wall after. Nobody's stopping you. Yeah. Like it's a nice little reminder because if you overwork yourself, like we were talking about earlier, dude, like it's tough to remember how appreciative you can take life and how lucky we are. So to listen to that song is almost like it always gets me back.
Could be on a workout playlist or having a bad day, like one of those pick you up kind of songs. It could also be like, they always kind of play songs like that on like promos for sporting events and things like that. It could easily be that too.
If I'm walking down a UFC fight, if I ever had the chance ever, it might be the song. Be the song.
And he's got the swagger. But it's mainstream enough to where, he strikes a really nice balance in that song.
Alrighty, we're gonna get way more into Patiently Waiting too. So
it's not the last time.
So I talk about that. Don't worry, we're here to actually give some music some love. So I'm gonna go with. We're gonna get this one out of the way. This is one of my favorite ones, and it's really tough to explain, so I'll explain it, and it's probably even tougher to understand after I explain it. But is the Jackson 4 Award. One of my personal favorites. I came up with every one of the awards, but it's one of my personal favorites. Just because if you take Michael Jackson of the Jackson 5, clearly Jackson 5 is amazing. Mm-hmm. But if you take Michael Jackson away from that, what are the Jackson 4? They're nothing. Michael kept going. So like in this case, in this album, what song would you take off of that and it's still gonna be this album? And so like what's your your one like nitpick, the one song you would take away if you had to gun to the head, because like trust me, a lot of these songs I would listen to any day of the week. And dude,
you want me to answer or you want to first?
I'll let you go first.
My answer, it's probably not too controversial of an answer because I think it's the one song on here, and you might not like this. 21 Questions. Because I think it's the one song on here that the tone is kind of different from everything else, but I 100%, from a marketing standpoint, respect it being on there. I know why that song's on there.
That's a strong answer, dude. I love that.
I don't. That's the one song that if I'm gonna skip any song on this album, it's that one. Just because, like, when I think of Get Rich or Die Tryin', I think of I want something that makes me feel amped. I want something that makes me feel, like you said, like I can run through a wall.
Another one bites of dust.
Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah. Gets my blood pumping, and 21 Questions is that's a completely different emotion for me.
That is true.
I've always kind of like I have a hard time too when there's like these. I think there's some rappers that are hard around the edges, and I would definitely put 50 there. And I don't know him at all. I don't know if he has a softer side, but it just seemed a little like forced. It's almost like, some producer within said, hey, you kind of got to put a song out there for the ladies. And it had commercial success. I think it was the third single to come out on here. So I 100% understand why it's there. And I will show it some love later on. But that would be my
Nate Dogg did his thing. I can't lie to you. So, but that's a tough one, dude. So that's a great answer, though. That's a great answer because it's definitely not the song like off the ear that you would pick, but it is one for the album. I like that a lot. And for me, it's always been Bloodhound with Young Buck. Just because there's sometimes I just don't like the damn song, even though it's hard. I get it, but but I get why you got to keep it on there just because you got the G Unit thing going. Yep. But it's between that one and High All the Time. I wasn't a big High All the Time fan.
This is great.
But the a reason you got to keep it is just because his description of why he put it on there, it's like it makes sense. It's like a cocky move. It goes into why he's being so like he's so confident, he's cocky, like that's his thing. He's like, I don't do that shit.
So is it almost like a fraudulent thing for you? Like
no, it's more like I just don't like the song. Like, no hate, because I like all of these songs. It's just if I had to pick one, because Bloodhound's still good. I like that song, and it honestly, beat wise, it might have me in my like darkest, more like I'm feeling thug mood.
Yeah.
Just because it's that like dark of a song. I just don't know. I just never liked it. I don't know what it is. Like I like 50. I like 50 on it, of course. I like 50 on everything. But I wasn't a big fan of the Young Buck of the feature. That's just my fault. I'm sorry if people hate it.
This is great.
But that's my thing. I think it's. I didn't want to be cheesy either, but I think it's the same answer as I did last time. It just doesn't hit my ear well. So, all right. So you go into next feature.
Next,
or not feature, but you know what I'm saying. Next award.
So we want to do the Andre 3000.
Yeah, which is one of my favorite ones. That could be best verse or best line, just so you know, to anyone.
Once again, I had a really, really hard time with this. I have 4 written down, so
I'm gonna hear them all. Let's
hear it. So the first verse on "If I Can't."
Clearly, some words we can't say.
Yeah. Do you want me to? I'll start getting into that one here. So the first verse on "If I Can't." Let's see. Oh.
Yeah, good luck reading these things. They're long.
Really, when he says this line, I love. Peter Piper picked peppers and Run Rock rhymes. I'm 50 Cent right a little bit, but I pop 9s. Tell ninjas get their money right because I got mine, and I'm around. Quit playing, ninja. You can't shine. Like I didn't even come close to doing that justice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What he said. True. The fact that he said Peter Piper picked peppers and Run Rock rhymes, like that line is so clever. It almost sounds like something like Eminem would say.
Exactly.
And you can tell that Eminem was probably in the booth. So that line right there, I love. The end of 50's verse in Patiently Waiting.
I can't wait for that. I can't wait for this.
His first verse in that one. This is so funny to read these like you're reading a book because the flow and everything just sounds.
I almost told you we're gonna do a skit where we read the lyrics just normal like a book, which we can do it if you want. We're doing it right now. 50 fear no man, warrior, swing swords like Conan. Picture me pen in hand, write lines, knowing the source will quote it. When I die, they'll read this and say genius wrote it. I grew up without my pops. Should that make me bitter? I caught cases I copped out. Does that make me a quitter? In this white man's world, I'm similar to a squirrel looking for a slut with a nice butt to get a nut. I mean, I just amazing. M's verse in Patiently Waiting. The end.
Yeah, he talks about the towers and everything like that. He pulls in the 9/11 reference. Now, see, it's funny. I can almost do this one off the top of my head. I love that you mentioned High on the Time for the song that maybe you would pass. Because actually, that's one of my favorite songs. His first verse on that. Like every time I roll up, they holler, hold up. Tell them, hold up. You ain't getting money. You ain't smoking in my benzo. 20 is Lorenzo. Smoking on Indo. Hot as a... I be on the back streaks. They know I clap heat. Homie, if you got beef, man, you better holler at me. Get locked up, stabbed up, shot up. Every time I pop up. And then this... Shoot the dice, holla, get him, girl. Daddy need new shoes. Daddy need Pirellis to look mean on 22s. Stash box, Xbox, laptop, fax machine, phone. Bulletproof this bitch and I'm gone. Like,
dude, he murders. He does a phenomenal job.
His flow is amazing. Yeah, is amazing in that. Now, I like the song itself. You know, maybe the topic isn't quite there, especially if it's not something he really did. But I loved his flow there. If I had to pick one, though. Man, like to me, that one's his most catchy. Probably the High all the time. I would say his first verse in Patiently Waiting.
Yeah, I like that. So okay, so here's my argument real quick. Not argument, my question, the debate, whatever. I've always asked everybody this: either one of 50 Cent verses or Eminem's verse. Which one you picking if you had to? Comes down.
If I had to,
you can only listen to one of them.
I only picked.
You're picking it. Like you got.
Well, Eminem's my favorite rapper of all time.
Easily.
Loved DMX. He was, and R.I.P. to him. But given that this is 50's album, that's why I picked 50's verse. But if I had to pick one, it'd be M's verse on Patiently Waiting.
All right. I liked it a lot because that's clearly
it felt a little wrong to pick someone else's verse.
That's true.
You know.
All right, so this one. Sorry.
Which song are you looking at?
I'm patiently waiting. I had it here and then I kept going. Oops. But anyway, okay. So I like 50 Cent's second verse a lot. I think it's better. I like it better than his first one. But the only reason for me that makes me just feel so thug listening to this shit was when he goes, "You shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house. And if you got a glass jaw, you should watch your mouth because I'll break your face." The way he says it. And then he goes on to have your ass running, mumbling to the Jake. "If you go against me, dog." You know, that whole verse.
Talking about the Michael Jackson.
Yeah, with all them zippers. With all them zippers. And then...
well, I'm the boss in the boat. You can call me Skipper.
Yeah, and then Eminem's my favorite line on there is the, "Don't let me lose you. I'm not trying to confuse you. And when I let loose with this Uzi and shoot through your Isuzu." Like, just the way his wordplay is stupid. And for me, it just gets me giddy. But, and then I go, "You Not Like Me" has one of my favorite verses of all time. Or lines, I should say. When he comes out and says, "Mom said everything that happened to us is part of God's plan. So at night when I talk to him, I got my gun in my hand." So he's saying he doesn't trust God, which is, for me, I'm more on the, like, who knows if I believe in him side, which we're not going to get into. But, like, that's, like, it just, for me, it was like a young white kid listening to that shit was like, I'm sleeping with a kid. But how many
people have, I think, whether or not you believe in God or not, almost everyone at one point in their life has prayed, to a higher power, asked for help with something you feel like you're not getting a response. I'm going to take it in my own hands. Yeah. Who cannot relate to that and feel like, well, it's on so me. Much. Yeah.
That's why I love it so, because it goes so deep. Like that's what I like about, like, it might be a simple line, like not as great as wordplay or whatever, but it's just like it just shows, and you can hear it in his voice how serious he is about it. Because that. Damn, man, for a bonus song, like, it's a bonus song. It definitely shouldn't have been on the actual, like, album, in my opinion. I like it a lot. But that whole line just goes off into so many different, like, scenarios where it's like, dude, that's such a powerful line. Like, maybe I'm not a gun believer. I probably never own a gun because I'm just not. I don't like having that shit. Too much power. But, like, I'm somebody, whatever. I don't believe in that violent stuff, even though I love MMA. But you know what I'm saying? Like, stupid violence like that. But it is an amazing line. But, I probably go, I'll say Eminem deep down, but, like, I like 50's second verse. The whole glass jaw thing kills it. I'm looking like Michael Jackson with all them zippers. Like, he goes off, dude. So
okay,
and then
I'm not shocked.
So who wins the song then? Like, who wins the song? Because I mean, I think, from my opinion, I think that we hear a second verse from 50 because he heard M's verse after his first verse and was like, "Holy shit, M went crazy." So I have to add a verse. I think he added that verse. I didn't get to find if that was true or not. But I would say that in his mind, because if you really look at the track listings, or like at least the time, like the first song 2:59, like a lot of them are 3 minutes or whatever, and then this one's it's easily the longest at almost 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think like it was at that like 4 minute mark, 3:40 something without his second verse, and I think
so they could have cut it off there.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I think he might have added it because he heard M's second part.
Well, and I like that like I said, I think they were very strategic in the track list they did. And having that song be third very early on the album, and you listen to the words of the hook, "I've been patiently waiting for a track to explode on." Like, it's so, that 50 wrote that, and that he feels that, and now it's like, now this is what I'm going to do on the rest of the album. Like, he sets a tone for the rest of the album. Who won the song?
He pushes it to another level.
I think 50 wins it. I think 50 wins it because you're like, oh, he's right there.
When you look back on it right now, you're like, oh, okay, maybe M. But, like, when you look at it at that time, rookie coming in, this is Allen Iverson crossing over Jordan right now. Yeah. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, and we didn't see that. And to go into another example of this, like, to let you know that there's son, like, on Diamond Remix, the way Jay-Z goes at Kanye. Oh my God. It's like, hey, little kid, you're sitting there. 50, M couldn't do that to 50 on that. There's no way he could have done this on this song to him. No. So, all right. So let's go into our next one.
Okay.
Anything else to say on Patiently Waiting? Because
I think some more stuff to say.
I know it's like it's so many downloads, all this shit's like gold or fucking diamond song, I'm pretty sure. But like Dude, I think not to even be funny. I think that might be like a top.
I think that song separates
top 5 album or top 5 song to me. Maybe
that song separates. You can get a real good judge for how big of a hip hop fan someone really is. Like, hey, 50 Cent's first album. What were the songs you liked on it? And if they give you the If I Can't, or if they give you the In the Club, the Many Men, the Wanksta, whatever, they give you those. They're not really like a real hip hop fan.
Yeah.
Because you just said it, possibly top 5 song of all time. I think it's the best song on this album.
Easily, dude.
And this album is full of great songs. I mean, great songs.
I almost listen to this song so much that I feel bad for picking a number one because it's like this is one of those ones you can listen to any mood, anytime, ever.
I'm just like I could probably count on one hand how many times in my life I've skipped past this song if it shows up on a shuffle.
Never.
Just like
never. Maybe unless
just not quite in that mood right now.
Maybe around a parent or something else. Like at work, I play my. I, like with my older guys from Concrete, like I play a lot of music, and sometimes like some rap will come up, and I'm like, "Ooh, no, keep it that '70s, '80s rock." Right. But yeah, if I'm alone or if I got somebody in it willing to like capable of listening to that song, that I feel like I'm not being a douchebag. Yeah, they're listening to it.
Yeah, and you're catching Eminem. I mean,
the wave.
He's at one of the highest points of his career at this time as well. He's coming off of Eminem Show, which you could make the argument first Marshall Mathers LP was maybe a little bit better, but it's probably his best. He goes Marshall Mathers LP, Eminem Show, 8 Mile soundtrack, wins an Academy Award, and then 2.5 months later, he's on this track, and he's heavily involved in this album.
Crazy.
I mean, I don't know if he's ever been more at the peak of his powers than he was when he lays down that verse.
I wanted to say it earlier.
It's so hard not to say it. It's just such a great phrase. The peak of the powers.
Is it? Do you think it's Eminem's Mountaintop?
Oh, man, that's
at that time because it's probably 50 Cent's Mountaintop easily. The only way that you can maybe G Unit, maybe that album a couple months later made him a little more known, maybe, but it's still not the work that it was on, like, because he murdered that album, but it was a lot like D12 where it's like let my other guys come out. So I thought it was cool, but
this is probably Eminem's where he's at the absolute apex of his popularity, of his his pedigree is probably.
Right. I'm not trying to be funny here and sound like a young kid right now, but do you think by any chance, just for the way the media goes off right now, do you think that the Kill Shot diss track on MGK, maybe like popularity wise on at least like clicks and views and stuff, do you think that might have been his peak, which was just a couple years ago? Because that song blew up, dude. That song, but it's not the actual like track, like just what Eminem was doing. I think was his peak of his powers in 03. But he's just so fucking good in every fucking thing that he does.
I think as far as his maybe more 2020 range, more modern time as far as him like trending, like being a trending topic on Twitter, definitely that. And that's a whole nother conversation as far as that whole entire beef with MGK. How was it staged? Was it? Because I think there's an argument, and again, I don't know how much time we have here, but there's an argument as to whether or not. I mean, you don't find it, me, like, well, we've talked, how many conversations we have about conspiracy theories and things like that.
All the time.
I find it a little curious that MGK has completely changed his genre of music after that. Now, you could just say, well, Eminem murdered him, which he absolutely did, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, it's a hell of a publicity stunt because I have a hard time believing MGK sat there and he had people around him that were like, yeah, go at Eminem's daughter, man. Just do it. I don't know. I'd like to believe he's not that dumb.
I mean, he's a little player. I don't fucking know.
I mean, I like MGK. I liked past tense.
I never have.
I didn't think he was that bad of a rapper, especially being from Cleveland. I was always going to support him and want to see him do well.
Sample remix to Chasing Pavements by Adele, which was good, but it's Adele still on it halfway.
Yeah.
So it's Adele. Okay, so how much is it a publicity stunt, or how much is it that Eminem is just like the Last Dance with Michael Jordan? We've seen how petty he was and how like just how personal he took things.
Look for excuses.
I don't know if you saw the interview with Sway that M had, where he was talking about, like, I seen he was talking about my daughter, and I'm like, who the fuck's talking about my, like, you know, you seen M kind of go up, and this is old M. This is just a couple years ago M, and it's like, I think that he's got that Michael Jordan thing in him, where you almost have to take things personal.
Looking for reasons to go to
because you heard him when he was coming back from, like, his relapse and stuff and all that shit, where he was talking about, like, I almost wanted Lil Wayne almost wanted Kanye in his verse
because he was jealous.
And I think that's what M has always kind of came off of. Like,
how many rappers would actually admit that, though? How many rappers?
None. Michael Jordan wouldn't even admit it. Like, he's saying it out loud, but he wouldn't admit that he takes that shit personal. He would say, "No, what do you mean? I don't take anything personal."
Yeah, to set their ego aside and actually admit that. But we could have an entire Eminem podcast.
All right. Anything else on Patiently Waiting?
No. Okay. No, not right now.
All right. I'm gonna go with one of my favorite. I always say all these awards my favorite. They're my babies. So let's get the one out of the way that might be. I don't even know if I told you to write this down, but you can just kind of go off the flow.
Okay.
I'll say it because it's one of my favorite ones, and it's tough for this. It's kind of tough for this album. So it's the Jamie Foxx Award, which for me, like, I'm a big fan of Jamie Foxx. Like, you've seen, like, he started as a comedian. He sings. He puts out very, very popular songs. Dude's in all the movies you've ever seen ever. Next day he's on First Take. Like, the dude's jack of all trades. Honestly, like, you can make
very talented.
He's everywhere. He can do everything. He can do Broadway too. He can do all that acting. Yeah. He's pretty good. So, like, I like to say this is like the most versatile song award. What song can you listen to in the most moods? Or like it just has all of it going for it. So like when this is on like a Drake album or something, like, it's pretty tough because you got all these like different transitions and shit. Like, so it's like all of them are like that. So
like you don't really necessarily have to be like in a mood.
Yeah. It's more like it's just so there's almost so much in it that you're like, wow, holy shit, that's a pretty like versatile song. So so you could pretty much like the arguments on there would be like 21 Questions, clearly, just because you got Nate Dogg singing and you got 50 going off pretty hard. Gotta Make It to Heaven's kind of got that.
Yeah.
Where you could even go with like Life's on the Line. Or if you have any other one, you know what I'm saying? Like PIMP, even In the Club's got a little like you could even argue that it's got the radio hit, then goes into rap, like we kind of talked about. Not to take the easy answer, but to at least bring it up so we can talk about it. 21 Questions, just because it's like you got Nate Dogg singing, a lot of people love Nate Dogg, and it kind of takes you back to like a Snoop Dogg days, or whatever, like where he's the lead singer for him. And anyway, and then you got 50 that just goes off on the song as well, and you see him like kind of stay thug, but you see like a thug trying to fall in love too. So the reason you thought it shouldn't be on the album, at least for this award, I think it makes the most sense for me.
Okay.
So,
all right. So, like, your most versatile song.
If that makes sense. Like,
it does.
This song can act, this song can sing, this song can go on to First Take tomorrow and argue with Skip Bayless or Stephen A., whoever the hell.
I guess I kind of alluded to this. I kind of answered it without even realizing I was answered, but I would say If I Can.
See, I wanted to take it, but I didn't want to, like,
because I think that song's mainstream enough to where it could be a song you turn the radio and hear. It could also be a song you listen to, you're running on the treadmill or running outside. And like you said, it could also be a song you listen to just when you're trying to find that extra little bit of oomph, to get out the door and get going. Yeah, I'd go with that one. And it's shorter. How long? It's like a little over 3 minutes, right?
3:16.
Yeah, it's one of the shortest ones on the album. So it's a shorter song. It's a quick listen. It is to the point, and it's got a good beat. So
yeah, I was going to say the beat part too. You can even take the lyrics off it. You're still like, okay.
I go with that one.
So let's get to the 21 Questions conversation, which I kind of liked how, dude, you're making me change my thought. This is why I like doing this shit. Because like when you really mentioned it and explained it, I was like, yeah, 21 Questions should not be on this album. Like, if you really think about it, it shouldn't be on this album. And there's an argument out there that I'm going to have with myself right here. If Places to Go was written and everything, that might be 50 Cent. That might be 50 Cent's greatest song. Yeah. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the video of Eminem saying how that almost made him quit rap? It was his whole picture me with a pen and paper or whatever. Picture me, that whole verse. Like, say Eminem's like, wow, yeah, I can't touch that shit. But that was on the 8 Mile soundtrack, which wow. But
and That's like
got places to go, got people to see. Oh my god!
That album, man. That's to me. I think it's the best soundtrack, hip hop soundtrack ever.
I hate to go in order. We might have to do that next time.
Okay,
just saying.
All right,
but so staying on the 21 questions. Yeah. Fact real quick. Sorry to get away. Staying on this album. 21 questions. I do. Like I said, it's just that one because we've always like known this between us two. Like I've always been more of like the R&B fan. Like I'm down to listen to like the soulful shit. Like like I'm an emotional dude. I'm not gonna deny it. Like definitely not a pussy, but and I'm single as shit. So what's up? But I'm into like I always feel like my feelings and shit come out. Like I let them come out through like movies and music. Like that's the only time I let myself really go. Like clearly I can be intimate as fuck with a woman, but I'm just saying like this is one of those songs I'm always more open to because I like hearing when like because like to your point like I actually kind of like when these thugs and these people that you don't see thinking they can fall in love like actually show a soft side to them and you're like holy shit
a little vulnerability.
It just like and I mean clearly. Since we're older and shit now, it's like clearly every fucking person's got emotions and feelings. But when you're growing up and like in high school, especially when this song came out for you, and like when I'm in elementary school and like you're going through middle school and shit,
you
like
got a crush on someone.
You don't think like, that everybody's got feelings and shit. Yeah. You just think it's all you, and you think you're weird. But then you grow up and like everybody's got them. So it was cool to see that other side, and it definitely like I think it was number 5 most downloaded or like most sold unit or whatever stream song whatever it would be and it definitely is platinum like I think 4-time platinum 5-time platinum of the song so definitely had the success for sure behind it. Do you have anything to add on it?
And there's probably no way of knowing this without actually asking 50 this Curtis Jackson did you want this song to be on the album or maybe take it one step further, did you want to make this song? Or were the producers on you like, hey, we got to push out a single that's a little more for the ladies, a little more R&B, a little more, I guess just reaches the masses a little bit more. Because you got the club banger. You got the song that's the hard song, Many Men Wish Death. You know, now we got to go a different direction. So that's just the way to get to the most eardrums. And
yeah,
I'd be curious to know that. I'd be real curious to know the answer to that.
I agree. So... All right, let's go. Do you have anything to add on? If I can't, I don't got anything. I think we broke it down pretty
Nope, I think we're good. Yeah.
And just so people know, 21 Questions is produced by Dirty Swift. Only time he's on it. So there you go. Okay. And then I'll let you pick next one. We got Jamie Foxx out of the way.
Yep.
We got Jackson 4 out of the way.
Yep.
We got Andre 3K and Dr. Dre. Okay, so leave the most relistenable for the last, probably, and then you can just pick the rest.
All right, let's go Jamal Crawford.
Bam.
So and how you explain this to me, and jump in if I'm interpreting this wrong. So we kind of you have like your top 5, right? You have your starting 5 players.
Yeah.
But Jamal Crawford's that song that doesn't quite make the cut, but comes in off the bench, and if he's in there with that top 5, you're fine.
Yeah. This song could easily, it's low key like the Dion Waiters award almost.
Yeah.
It's like this song could easily come off the bench and it's dropping you 25 that game. Like yeah.
The song that you don't really miss much if. For some reason, you lose one of your downloads or one of your top 5 songs.
Like,
you can't ever hear it again. Yeah, you're okay. So it's if I can't for me. Now my top 5, and I want to dive into this because I'm glad that we're different on this. My top 5, Patiently Waiting's number 1.
I like
my number 2 is one of your least favorites. I love Bloodhound.
I love it. That's cool.
I love it. Now, as far as I think I like the sound of it more, and maybe
I agree.
The beat. Now, can I sit here and tell you like the lyrics and everything like that are just on fire, just something that are seared in my memory? No, but I love the verse. I love the pump crack. I love Stay Strapped. And I always like Young Buck. But your argument is absolutely valid. I think it's one of those, for whatever reason, I thought it was kind of hypnotic to me, that verse. So that's in my top 5. High All the Time is in my top 5. I think more so just because I love that verse 50 has. I love his flow in that first verse. Many Men Wish Death. Love that song.
Such a great song.
And Don't Push Me. I love that song too. I think to me, that's like on that next tier right below Patiently Waiting.
Okay, to go into Don't Push Me real quick.
And then I would have, if I can't, my Jamal Crawford.
Do you think that's the most slept on song? Like the most underrated song in this entire album? That thing gets no plays. I've never heard it anywhere.
No.
You don't hear people talk about it. And it's almost, if that's Eminem's only verse on there, people are talking about it. But Patiently Waiting just puts it to a whole... That song is like God tier.
And Lloyd Banks, he shows... And I think there's definitely an argument to be made.
The king of the mixtape.
There's an argument to be made. He was the best rapper in G Unit. He was the most talented lyricist.
My next question to you is going to be, let's list off your... Yeah. Because for me, it's definitely... 50's number one, clearly. But Lloyd Banks, then it's Young Buck, then Tony for me.
Yeah. And Tony is like way down that list for me.
He's poop.
Like My Style. That I was highly considering that one for the song that.
But I thought 50 did really good on that song. That's the only reason. Yeah. But I thought Young Buck should have been a little bit on Bloodhound. That's just me. That's why I hated on it. And I didn't want to. But Don't Push Me. That's another one that's like you could go into war with that one.
That one's on my workout playlist. It's been on there for 18 years now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had to change it up because your top 5 knowledge that you just read off clearly not the same. But I don't want to give the same top 5 that I gave last time. I'm trying to switch it up. So my number is my 6th man of the year. I'm gonna go just different here. Because it probably realistically like number 7 for me on my favorite songs. But re-listening to it, I really like Wankster, bro. I've always liked it, but like I re-listened to it today, and I almost like that was one that stuck out to me because it's like that bonus track, and it's definitely not in your top 5 that you're gonna play. So it's like to hear that again, you're like. Oh, holy moly! Like, I don't know, but that one for me, I'd give the Jamal Crawford Award for 6 man, which I just think you listen to it, you're gonna get the buckets. So
I like that one.
And then top 5 to just name them off real quick. I'd probably Patiently Waiting is probably number 2. Shocker for You Here. Like realistic, I can't. This isn't a shocker. I can't lie to myself here. Many Men's number 2. Number 3, I'll probably Heat just because that's like
a good one.
It's so fucking. If you get over the first like 20-second intro thing, it's because it's bad. It's a bad listen. I can't lie to you. That first 20 seconds. But if you get over that, you're in store for one of the greater 50 Cent songs, in my opinion. And then clearly, I mean, it's hard not to put PIMP in there. Just for how big it was. Yeah. And then I always get mad at myself, but In the Club kind of has to be at number 5 just because it should be number 1 if we're being real. Like, and this is going to go into the next award for me. How about this? Because I'll describe this one. I call this one the LeBron James Award and the MVP Award, I should say, the LeBron James MVP Award. And this is where you could say this for Michael Jordan. You could say this for Kobe. Like, there's a solid, 5-6 years on each one of these guys' career where they're easily MVP every single year. But the Academy and all these people, not the Academy, but you know what I'm saying? Like the writers. Yeah, all these people that vote for them and stuff, they're
just
not
tired of voting for them.
Yeah, they want to switch it up. The NBA's pretty much forced them to switch it up. But, realistically, this would be the song that is MVP every single year of this album. But it's not going to get the votes every single year. So, maybe Giannis won it, but really, we all know LeBron's MVP or the year Steve Nash won it. We all know Kobe MVP. Right. So I would go, that's probably In the Club just because I think if that single wasn't the first single to be released, I don't know if his stock is as high. I think the album's still just as good. Clearly, you don't change the album. But I think just for what it did for 50 and the fact that it's a coin toss, that's the one, I don't think... I'm being dead serious, dude. I don't think that if that's not the first thing we hear from this album, that I don't know if it's going to be as highly anticipated. So that's why I think it deserves the LeBron James Award.
I like what you did there. I like how you went with that because I kind of went a different way, but I like because if that song's not as big of a hit, and it was, if that's the one that won, I love that song. You love that song, but I'm saying I don't know if it makes everybody like, oh shit, I can't wait for this album. Yeah. Because we'll go into the numbers and stuff this did, but you had to buy this CD. You had to buy things back then, and nobody wanted to do that. Yeah. You want to spend your hard-earned money at Kmart and Walmart and your local Best Buy and shit. You had to. So let me hear yours for the LBJ Award. So see, I went a little bit of a different way, but I like the spin you took it. Yeah. See, it's patiently waiting for me. Okay. I see. It's agreeable, and I know because that's. But while it didn't have the commercial success and it wasn't the mainstream success, because that's not a song that I think is really designed to be that.
No,
and I've always been one like in the club for me. I'm just kind of meh on now because I've heard that song so many times, and I've unintentionally heard that song just because it's on the background or it's on the radio or whatever it is. That I've always gravitated. Not always, but I tend to gravitate more towards lyrics and like, are you telling a story, and are the lyrics strong as opposed to it's a catchy beat, it's a catchy hook. Now I know I've mentioned on here like the Bloodhound song, like the lyrics aren't super strong. I think it's got a catchy beat. So, nice, but I like for the song, like there I am kicking the camera again. I'm the worst.
Action shot.
For like the songs that I think are going to stay with me forever, like you can only take 3 songs from this album. I'm not grabbing the one that like is really catchy. I'm grabbing the one that when I listen to it, I feel something.
I like that one.
So I would go with Patiently Waiting. Yeah.
Okay, I like that a lot. I really do. Mm-hmm. That's because that's why I like these awards, because everybody has their own different spin on them. We all take things differently, and that's why we take this. That's the whole point of doing this with other people.
Yep.
Is because if I'm sitting up here talking about the album, it's easy for me to go down a rabbit hole talking about how shitty Bloodhound was, in my opinion. If I had to pick a nitpick, even though it's not a shitty song, it's good, but like you're like on the opposite end, making me realize.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I see your argument. I think your argument's valid on this.
Oh, yeah. But you know what I'm saying? It's easy to go down a rabbit hole when you're only talking about one opinion, but you share opinions like, wow, like I like looking at that a different way. Because like I never until this day, never thought 21 Questions would be the one that I'd be like, wow, actually that is the one that's like, it should be on this album. But, so we'll save.
So we got the J-Lo award.
This one's so fucking tough. We'll get it out of the way because it already won pretty much. We already basically know. Okay. But so we're gonna go Scottie Pippen Award, which is the best feature, best second act, best man, right to your right. Yep. And clearly it cannot be 50. And this is the fun one for me is because there have been albums that we have done that a producer would win. Mm-hmm. So it can be producer, it can be just a feature on the actual lyrics, and I feel like it's just not even fair, but it's Eminem and Patiently Waiting, in my opinion. And you can even throw another little asterisk in there and give Eminem just the producing for or Don't Push Me. You can do it for either one. Okay. But I'm saying like his producing skills on here, because I think he does like 8 songs. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 songs. Okay, so wow. So still pretty fucking good. But that's what I'm saying, like 6 songs, and he's on there twice just rapping, so it's like he has 8 chances, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's Eminem, but if you couldn't give it to Eminem, if that's almost too good of a thing, I know you don't like the song as much, but I think Nate Dogg, maybe, his lyrics on there are phenomenal. Or not lyrics, but like his vocals, I think are honestly pretty good on 21 Questions. And you could even go with Lloyd Banks off Don't Push Me. But where you stand?
So I might surprise you on this.
Let me hear it.
Nate Dogg.
Wow, I'm shook.
I'm going to take part of it is like a out of respect for what he did in his career. R.I.P. to Nate Dogg, and how big he was to rap music and hip hop becoming mainstream, being a featured artist and being the guy that's going to be on the hook. That, and of the songs that were singles on this album that were released as singles, I think he's the only feature. Unless you want to count the P.I.M.P. remix and things like that.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
But yeah, I'd go with Nate Dogg. And part of that's out of respect, and because that song probably is the most commercially successful of the ones that were released as singles and had music videos.
I like that a lot. And then, so J-Lo Award, which is basically, okay, don't get me wrong. There's an argument out there that young Jennifer Lopez is still the most gorgeous she can be, but let's be real, she has not dropped a step, maybe even take a step forward, in my opinion. I like the maturity in her.
Absolutely,
but
ageless.
50-year-old J-Lo is a fine wine, and she's just as sexy. So it's what song is only getting better with time, in your opinion?
This one was tough. I had a hard time with this one, because you want to think about a song that maybe doesn't have, like, he's not talking about something that was popular in 2003. True, so, like, is he talking about putting spinning rims on it? Like, you kind of got, like, that doesn't age too well. Or you talk about, like, the way they dressed back then. We touched on that. So, to me, I put Many Men Wish Death. Because I think that's a song that we all, now none of us, neither one of us, or at least I think I can speak for both of us when I say this, that no one's ever wanted to kill us.
Yeah.
Like get a gun and put it and kill us. And we're fortunate to where we haven't lived a life where, you know, and I alluded to this, being that white suburban guy that, you know, I get that. Like there's been things that we're definitely privileged to grow up in. But you still, you listen to that song and you embody like that, oh, there's a target on my back, or there's people that, you know, want to see me fail and things like that and want to see me not do well. And that's motivating, you know, even if you can't sit here and say anyone's ever want to murder you.
True. No, it's true.
And I think it's one of the darker, it was interesting to me that was released as a single because it's a dark song.
Yeah, it is.
And it's like, if that song's released as a single today, I don't think there's any way it's popular. There's no way that's a hit if it's released today. But it also...
That's arguable. What was that song that just... oh my God. Fucking got Murder on My Mind. That stupid-ass song that was just famous for a whole year.
Okay.
I got murder on my mind.
Okay.
And that shit was trash. So I think maybe
maybe
that's
it could.
Just my fault.
Maybe it could. But I think it's
not as good as it was.
Like, of all you look at the track list, and like before you listen to a single song on this album, like to see, oh, there's a song called Many Men Wish Death, and it talks about, oh, there's people that want to kill me. Were you surprised at all, like given the story and everything, and kind of like I talk like the urban legend surrounding 50 Cent, like that song feels so right that there's a song called that.
Yeah, it's his man.
And he was completely embracing that, like, hey, there's going to be people that wanted me dead that aren't going to be happy that I'm successful and I'm at the top right now, and I'm just going to puff my chest out and just say, what are you going to do about it? That's my answer. That's a long-winded answer.
Is that the song that best describes 50? If you had to pick one song for him in his career that's a song, but like it's all like, all right, somebody comes out of a time lapse, whatever, like they come from either the future or the past, and they're like, all right, hurry up, I need to listen to one song by 50 Cent that's going to best describe him. Are you picking Many Men? Death Wish? Are you giving that? Is that one of them? Just be like, hey, shot 9 times, thug as fuck, like, is about that shit.
In the Club probably be the song that has the most cultural impact, his biggest hit.
I agree.
But I think if you ask 50, he would say, play them, Patiently Waiting, or Many Men Wish Death. Like those songs to me,
I agree.
Especially Many Men, sound more personal to him.
Facts.
So
So the J-Lo were for me. I had originally picked Heat, which when I did this in 2019, but I have a new one because I completely relooked at it from a different angle. But the reason that I did put Heat originally was just because, like I said, it wasn't released on the clean version. And as a really young kid who their mom had to buy the album at Kmart, which only released in edited versions, fuck you, Kmart. That song wasn't even on there. So, but for me, I'm gonna be real here, and this is why I picked Back Down, produced by Dr. Dre, only because now that it's 2021, and we really see that Ja Rule never came back ever, never. Like he had all them songs with Ashanti and shit, and some good ass ones, but he like after this he never came back, and like we've seen him try to have like tours and stuff, and he gets booed off stage at halftime, and like a Sixers game or whatever, dude like can only sell like 12 tickets in like a 2,000 like stand arena. Like to see like how truly like 50 killed him in his career and like see it actually like stand the like test of time, I think is really impressive. And for it to still stay as like a top 10, top 15 diss track of all time, even after all this time, is just really, really impressive. Like honestly. So I think that's why I picked it. Just J-Lo, age is the best, and it's just got the story behind it, in my opinion.
And for diss tracks, like if you download an album, you know, back in the day when you bought albums, like a physical copy, and you know there's a diss track on there, that's like the first song you want to listen to.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You're like, oh, what they say? Like,
I can't wait to see what they say.
Like, you know,
yeah.
And use a Pop-Tart, sweetheart. You soften the middle, like. Oh man, and obviously, I was, you know, being firmly in the 50 camp, the M camp, you know, in that whole thing, because that mattered where a white guy in Massillon, Ohio stands. It did to me. That and just a tiny little detail, but Bloodhound was on the track right before it. It flows perfectly into Back Down.
Yeah, it does.
Like the beat,
it really does.
It's seamless.
And that's my favorite.
That's a good answer.
All right, before we go into most relistenable,
okay.
I want to do this. So you know how like in the pretty much got not this whole idea off of the rewatchables from The Ringer, but I did like the name at least.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely clearly, but they do that Danny Trejo category. Like, could Danny Trejo be in this movie?
Oh yeah.
Could Drake be on this album? Like, clearly not at the time. 03, he's like 2,
right?
Whatever. But I'm saying like since Drake is that famous and whatever, and like I would say right now he's arguably the Michael Jackson of our time. Like, not to even be funny, the dude's got nothing but hits out there. If you really look at it, like you might not be his fan. But I'm saying you can't deny his numbers. Like the numbers are stupid.
I don't think it's. I mean, it probably isn't even close. How many hits he has?
There's no.
Who would be
not
next?
to even hate. Like, and I'm not even sitting here to be like
he is
on the train. He's lasted everybody's little hot streak, and he's still coming out. So, do you think Drake could be on this album? Just with 50, because this is where I thought originally it'd be really easy to say yes, but then I'm really sitting here thinking it's kind of tough to actually like give him the credibility to be on a 50 Cent album, especially of this nature. Like, Nate Dogg lived in the hood, lived in the streets. For him to sing, we've seen those songs he's been on. He's with Snoop Dogg, with Dre, with Eminem throughout the years. Like, there's a lot of respect for him.
I mean, he's coming from the Nickelodeon background, the Degrassi stuff.
But like, so we've seen him with top rappers like Lil Wayne. A lot of people love him and shit. But I've never been the biggest Wayne guy. I think he's good. Don't get me wrong. But like, I just don't have him on that category, like the Jay-Z's, the 50s, the M's. Like, in my opinion, a lot of people do have that feeling on him, but like, he's just so much of a different rapper. He's not that thug. He knows he's not thug. Like, he just raps about it. He's got a good flow and stuff, but he doesn't rap like 50 did. So like, you can't use that.
Yeah, I mean, 50 really embraced the gangster rap.
Yeah, like, even if you really think about it, like, all these people that you would consider like old school rappers, at least for still rapping nowadays, like the Rick Rosses in the world and like Lil Wayne and all that, like, they're still not thug. Like Jay-Z, Kendrick, like, I know Kendrick grew up in Compton and shit, but like, Kendrick's not thug. Like, I don't get that. Like, a Good Kid, Mad City, I got it. Definitely felt a little bit, but it was just because I was still young and stuff. But like, when you listen to Kendrick, like, Kendrick's not talking about to shoot you and stuff. Like, he's more like intellectual. So like, I don't know. Like, I think sound wise, Drake could be on this album, but if you want to go off of like, would it take credibility away from 50 for having a soft kid on there? Like, I don't think Drake would have got the warm welcome from 50 Cent fans. Like, I don't know if he could be. Like, I think sound-wise, Drake can be on any album. Yeah. But, like, to really go into, like, what matters on that, like...
It's I mean, there's one song he probably could be on, and it's 21 Questions.
That's what I'm saying, and I'm not taking him over Nate Dogg.
Yeah, I mean, could he do a verse on there? Probably. He probably could. But I think that's the only song. I mean, maybe like...
And there's no way he comes rapping.
Maybe like If I Can't, or...
I was thinking If I Can't, but I still...
Like My Style. Maybe replace him with Tony Yayo. Maybe. Because those are a little... Not as deep, a little more surface level. Yeah, maybe. But...
That's a tough one. Wow. I've never actually looked at it. I'm happy I actually brought that up because I thought it would be a for sure yes, but I'm sitting here like, I don't think so.
I think the tone...
I'm going with no.
I think the tone, there's too drastic in those two. I mean, 50 was... I mean, again, this is maybe too far removed to say this, and this is all going back in my memory of it. He was the 21st century Tupac.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, he definitely kind of embodied that a little bit.
Well, now I'm sitting here thinking about
the whole entire, like, I'm hot, I know I am, do something about it.
All right,
like,
let me
come at me.
maybe not on this album. Drake couldn't have fit, but do you think on Forever, if they took Lil Wayne or Kanye off there and put 50 in, could it have worked?
This 50? 2003 50?
Yeah.
Anything could have worked. Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't have been on this album, though. But anyway, we'll get off that one, go on to this one's always just the home award, most re-listenable. It has nothing to do with your number one. Like, because I try not to put my number one song in the most re-listenable on there, even though it makes sense. It's just more like what, honestly, actually pretty much the way I look at it, what song have you listened to the most on this album? Hands down. Because over the 19 years it's been out, we've listened to, there's got to be that one song it's been listened to the most. And if it is Patiently Waiting, then it deserves it. But I'm saying, I'm trying to...
I'm not going off script here. It's patiently waiting.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's just got to be. So,
and I think it's a testament to this album. That song is way up there, and we've said this. And there's some other great songs on there too. If you take Patiently Waiting off this album, it's still a great album.
Oh yeah,
still a great album. But it just, I just think that song.
And for the success, for like the actual success of it, I don't think that song did that big of a factor with it. Like In the Club and shit was already, it was everybody's gonna buy it.
Do you know that? I don't think it was ever. There was never a music video for it.
No, there wasn't.
I don't know. I mean, it might have been released as a single, like way towards the end of when the album was out, like a year after it was out or something. But I don't think there was ever a music video. Again, it's like a litmus test. It's like you walk up to someone and say, "Hey, get rich or die trying. Tell me about that album for you." If they mention Patiently Waiting, they're good. They're a true hip hop fan.
Yeah, for sure.
But if they just rattle off, In the Club, Many Men, 21 Questions, okay, you're a little more fair weather, which is fine. There's a lot of those out there. But
all right, so do you have anything on any other song real quick before we get out of here?
I'm just going through. I think we've mentioned pretty much every song.
Except like Poor Little
Rich, which is fine. It's a fine song.
Yeah, deserves to be in there. It's not gonna blow your brain back when you got this many songs on there, but it is a good listen. Which one won the bonus track to you? Or out of the bonus tracks, which one won? Out of Wanksta, You Not Like Me and Life's on the Line.
Probably Wanksta.
I know I ranked Wanksta higher, but the You Not Like Me lyric that I read off, I just like his second verse pretty hard.
And Wanksta was technically the first single for this album. Because wasn't it a single off of it was on the 8 Mile soundtrack.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
It was
so In the Club, I think technically was the second single on this album.
Damn, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was literally just about to read these off. Yeah, because that In the Club would be the first one. But yeah, Wanksta technically did.
Yeah.
And then it went In the Club, then 21 Questions, then PIMP, then If I Can't.
Yeah.
Which are just, if
Many Men.
If that comes out.
Many Men was a single too, right?
I think it was the last one.
Was it the last one?
Okay. But I think, but this is where it was weird because it released the day before because this album was forced to release a week early due to bootleggers. So it was supposed to come out on the 10th or the 13th, and it came out on the 6th of February. So here's some fun facts, like we talked about already. So he signed with Eminem, Shady Records in 2002, drops his album early 2003, and then within 6 months later, he buys Mike Tyson's house that's $3 million at the time, which in 2003, $3 million is way more.
Yeah,
and that just goes to show how much money he made off this fucking album within 6 months.
Yeah,
stupid. Some fun facts about this album that I could find, at least, that I thought was really cool. On the set of In the Club's video shoot, Suge Knight pulled up just randomly. He was just trying to make his presence be known, and they filmed or the director of the music video, who I forgot to write down, some nobody, kind of, not to be mean, but he just told 50 and everybody we're just going to keep rolling. I don't know why the hell this guy's here. So that's pretty cool. You don't know what could have been. You don't know what could have happened with that. I've tried to look more into it, but that's under wraps. So no, you're good. Action shots. And then, so in September 2003, while he was doing his press run and whatnot, I don't know if you ever heard. I'm sure you heard this, but I just kind of forgot that this happened that quickly after the album. He was at Jersey City Doubletree Hotel in New Jersey, clearly, and him and his posse got shot at 10 times, and they had to go into the hotel's lobby and whatever. So, and that they found 10 shells outside that were popped, and so there's a question out there: if 50 gets shot another 10 times or something and lives, this man might have been this guy might have been bigger than Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, I'm not even kidding. If he lives another 10 shots, or even another shot after getting shot 9 times, he's got the 10 shot, 11, however many shots he wants to say he's got shot. That,
wow.
Or if he dies after this album, if 50 dies after this album, there's no question of who was the greatest rapper of all time, because he would have just got to say, I had this one album, got killed, and then you heard my G Unit album, probably that was already done, because October, November it came out. So it's
it definitely would have put him right there next to Biggie and Tupac.
Probably above him. Not to be mean, because those guys had Biggie had a career, Tupac had a career. You know what I'm saying? They had not to be mean. They didn't have the career they should have had, but they did have a career of 4 or 5 albums. I think Biggie had 3, Tupac had 4 or 5. Like, yeah, that's some shit, man. I'm just saying that could have happened. And I knew that happened. Like, I've heard that story before. Yeah. And then the story about the game, and that was a great story. But that's a whole different thing. But so the only other fun fact that I had, other than the, like I said, Many Men and In the Club was made for D12. Many Men was made for Nas, at least the beat, and the coin flip thing, like I said. But this one blew my mind. And actually, kind of now that we break this album down, it doesn't. Did you know 40% of all 50 Cent sales are this album? Like music sales, because clearly it's movies and shit and shows, but
so not just his music.
It could be everything, actually.
40% of
it could be everything, but it just said 40% of all 50 Cent. Be really hard to track. It's music. So of all his music sales, his album's 40% of it. Get Rich or Die Tryin' is.
I believe it because I would put this album to me. I mean, nearly every single song is solid, and then he does the Massacre, which had like.
Dude, I love
five, six really solid songs.
All those.
It had some solid songs, and then it was Before I Self Destruct.
God gave me style.
I'm trying to remember. Was it Before I Self Destruct? Was that his third album?
Well, like do you count the Get Rich or Die Tryin' movie album?
You could do that. I think that wasn't as bad as maybe some other people might. And that's the discussion too. Is that there was a movie much like 8 Mile. There was the movie made where 50 played himself. And I didn't think it was... Now, I haven't watched that movie in a long time. I remember seeing it in theaters a couple times. I don't think it was quite on the level of 8 Mile, but I didn't think it was terrible.
I thought it was way better than that Before I Self-Destruct movie. Did you watch that one?
No,
I did not. He gets killed at the end? Oh, wow. Yeah.
Okay.
It's deep, but...
But I do think his albums took a... But I think the reason why that Get Rich or Die Tryin' soundtrack was maybe a step up is because I think he kind of got back to that... Kind of back to his roots a little bit, you know.
Yeah, he did. It wasn't that bad. I didn't think so.
I think he had a couple of decent songs on there. Yeah.
Alrighty. Do you have any fun facts before I go off the accolades and then charts and whatnot, and then pretty much?
No, I just want to touch on the movie that they in a couple of the movie that was called Get Rich or Die Tryin'.
Facts.
It's about him. It's kind of like they did with Eminem and 8 Mile. Yeah. They changed the character's name, but it's him. It's his story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that movie.
Yeah, I did too.
I'll watch it again, probably.
Yeah, I watched it a while. It's worth a rewatch.
Oh yeah, definitely is. So, just the accolades and whatnot I could find. So in 2009, Billboard ranked this album number 12 out of 200 of the Billboard Top 200 albums of the decade. So that's pretty cool. I couldn't find the actual list. I was trying to find who won, like who was the 11 spots before him. I'm pretty sure DMX is in there, and Celine Dion, and there's a couple more that I'd have to look, but I could find only a couple.
The 2000s. I mean, it's got to be one of the top rap ones for sure.
Yeah, I think it's like number 4 rap. Number 3 maybe. Should be higher, but Eminem's clearly in there.
Maybe like the Black Album might have been in there.
Jay-Z's in there, yeah. So 2012, Complex named this one of the most classic albums of the decade, which is cool because the Complex doesn't usually give rap that usually gets in there that much. In the Club clearly went to number 1 as soon as it released in 2003. And it actually stayed there the entire year, which is pretty fascinating.
Wow. Yeah, I seem to remember that thing was on the radio forever.
Like I said, Back Down, XXL's greatest diss track of all time. Not number 1, but it's in the top 6, I think. There's a book called 1001 Albums to Listen to Before You Die, and this is in there. And there's only a couple rap albums in there, so that's pretty impressive. Billboard just released this a couple years ago. It's number 139 out of the best albums of all time. Of all time. Yeah. And that list went up crazy.
Pretty impressive list.
And then Rolling Stone even put them in this, which is really cool because I think only like Jay-Z and Eminem are the only other ones that are in here. Rolling Stone ranked this 280 out of the 500 greatest albums of all time. And that was last year. They just put that in there, which I thought was cool.
And then impressive list to be on.
And then this shit blew my mind here. So the charts for this album, it went number 1 in Canada and the U.S. It went number 2 in the U.K. It went number 3 in New Zealand and Belgium. It was number 4 in Australia, Germany, and Ireland. And then it was number 5 in Netherlands, Norway, and Scotland. So like
worldwide.
And he was like number 10 in Spain, like all over Spain. Yeah. Like he was all over the place. A bunch of top 15s, but I just wrote down the top 5. He was the year-end number 1 in the U.S. I think he was like number 4 in the U.K. And the one that kind of shocked me the most, he was number 10 in New Zealand. Kind of blows me, like just blows me away. And then certifications. This is as of last year, 2020 was the last time they did it. 9 times platinum with 8.4 million units sold in the U.S. 6-time platinum in Canada with 600,000. 4-time platinum in the UK with 1.2 million, which doesn't make sense because it's less platinum, but has double the sales as Canada. But just the way they
came out. People live in Canada.
Yeah,
a little more sparsely populated.
3 times platinum as 60,000 units sold in Denmark and Russia. 2 times platinum and 30K in New Zealand and Australia. In Australia, had 140,000 units moved, and then 1 time platinum in Belgium, Ireland, and Switzerland. Just crazy, worldwide, just phenomenal. And I think total units sold 12 million. So his album's diamond at 10 million. So the album is diamond, and that's just absolutely nuts because not many albums.
That's a short list.
It's very short.
That's a short list.
But dude, wow, hour 45, definitely worth it. Anything to say at all? Thanks for coming on. Seriously,
absolutely, man. Absolutely, no. It was an honor to be a part of this. This was a good one.
Seriously, the Relistenables. At least what I can say, I'm trying to come back hard and strong here. It's winter time coming.
Yep.
Don't be down to one job, so 40 hours a week, which for me is a vacation. So, yeah, I'm going to be pushing content. I already got the next Relistenable scheduled for tomorrow. We're doing Faces by Mac Miller, if anybody actually cares. They're re-releasing, like his family and everybody in his team, re-releasing the album on Apple Music and worldwide. So it's going to be an album now, and it technically was a mixtape. But, yeah, we're going to be pushing strong, and we're probably going to be redoing a lot of the albums that we've already done audio, which probably nobody's listened to, but it should be fun because editing and shit. Yep. And, dude, you're more than welcome on anytime. I'll send you a whole list of albums.
Glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This was fun. Good time.
Yeah, I don't even know what the hell to call this anymore. Just Steven Moustaris channel or Intrigue. Who knows? We don't know yet, but still, this is fun as fuck. And absolutely. Thank you so much, dude.
Absolutely, man.
Have a good one.